YouTube. This will be part 2 of my critique of Godless Cranium's arguments against my 8 questions which I imposed on atheists, which I claim they cannot answer objectively. So let's begin this charade, shall we?
If it were objectively wrong to eat meat, we'd all instinctually know that it's wrong and veganism should be a worldwide phenomenon.
Couldn't you say the same could be applied to ethics and not only morality?
In our morals, it seems self-evident to me since we see different ethical codes around the world. Different cultures practice different ethics, and as a species, we generally only agree on a few basic codes of conduct. That's not what you'd expect to find if morality was an objective fact.
Wrong. Just because people disagree on what is right and wrong doesn't mean there are no objective standards. It is self-evident to me that ignorance and free will exist. All it means is that people in this world have the free will and ignorance required to object to moral truths. For example, let's say that there is a child playing with a gun. You as an adult know that a child shouldn't be playing with a gun. However, the child gets upset when you try to take away the gun from them. Using your ideology that all morals are equal in some sense, the child's desire to keep the gun and play with it is no more right and wrong than the adult's desire to take away the gun from the child. Your ideology ignores knowledge. Your statement that if objective morals exist, then everyone should acknowledge them is a farce. The reason why objective facts can exist with not everyone acknowledging them is because of people's ignorance of what is good and their ability to reject what is good by their free will. Some people free-willingly promote the wrong things because it can have its own benefits as well.
Question 2. If your meaning to life is subjective and your sense of purpose in life is truly meaningless when you take into account how brief it is in the geological timescale and how the universe will one day be destroyed, why do you try so hard? Or why do you hold others to your subjective moral standards? Why do you judge God? Why do you feel the need to judge God? That's more than one question, but let's start with my life being meaningless. I don't think my life is meaningless right here and right now. Just because something doesn't last forever doesn't mean it's meaningless.
Is it really you who doesn't think your life is meaningless, or is it the matter that you are made out of, which forces chemically induced illusions on your brain to make it feel that it has meaning in the world? You see, in a worldview without the metaphysical, all that remains is physical processes. Everything boils down to matter, and therefore we don't really have free will. Everything's chemically induced. Once we understand this, why then should we hold ourselves subject to such purposeless chemical reactions and not just live our lives however we desire, whether it be seen right or wrong in the eyes of others? Many people get away with it just fine.
Life also has meaning to the people in my life, such as my girlfriend, friends, family, and so on. As far as the universe is concerned, I am meaningless. In the big scheme of things, I am smaller than a grain of sand, standing on a minuscule pebble, orbiting a tiny spark in a vast ocean we call space. And that's okay. The universe doesn't have to care whether I'm alive or not, because I care. The people around me care. At this moment in time.
And it's fine for you to live in your la-la land, but you should not act like you have some right to impose your beliefs and values on others. Just be honest. You selfishly believe what you believe, and all you want to do is oppose anything that conflicts with what you believe, because it doesn't fit your little mind. I mean, what truth do you hold that is more right and wrong than others?
That's what matters to me. Second, I don't judge God. I don't think God exists. What I tend to do is judge the ideas and truth claims religion has produced. I also judge the actions of religious believers who use their religion as motivation for actions I would deem to be either ethical or unethical. For example, if Christianity motivates someone to go out and volunteer in a soup kitchen, then all the power to them. I might wish they'd do it for different reasons, but I'm not going to argue against their action. On the other hand, if someone thinks killing apostates is a moral action, I would definitely argue against it and the ideology that might have played a role in the shaping of what I would consider to be an extremely unethical belief and behavior. Question.
And what universal truth do you hold that makes your beliefs any more right and wrong than others?
3.
to say that God doesn't exist. To prove that God doesn't exist, you have to have a logical reason as to why the universe came into existence out of the eternal realm of nothingness.
I don't need any proof to say I don't believe God exists. I don't believe the claims you and people like you make. It's up to you to prove your claims. How our universe began is a separate question.
How our universe began isn't a separate question. Most physicists and scientists know that our material universe, which consists of space-time, came into existence. Now, what you want us to believe is that all that exists is matter, but without space-time, there was no way for space-time to come into existence. This leads many logical people to believe that there is a reality beyond space-time from which it came into existence, space-time being consistent only of matter. This leads us to believe in a space-timeless creator with the power to decide to bring something into existence out of a pure abstract will, namely God.
Because we don't know something doesn't mean you get to assert your particular brand of deity is the correct.
Notice that I'm not asserting a particular brand of deity. I'm simply asserting the requirement of a God for space-time to have come into existence. However, if you look at the other dogmas from the ancient world, none come as close to our secular understanding of the universe than the Bible. Some that come close are other religions that are based on the Abrahamic faith, which are founded in the Bible.
Answer. If you want to make that claim, you need to present some evidence to support it.
I don't need to present evidence. All I need to present is reason and logic. Question 4. Where and why did the universe pop into existence out of the Big Bang? Where did the multiverse pop out of? If there was no universe made out of space-time, does that mean that the universe just popped out of an eternal realm of nothingness?
There are scientific hypotheses that propose an eternal universe. I'll leave a link in the description.
There are no credible hypotheses that can explain an eternal universe, which is why experts like Professor Michio Kaku come up with hypotheses like string theory. There's no logic or evidence for it, and the reason why evidence is needed here is because it's a material claim requiring a material evidence. I'll leave a link in the description below to help you understand why it is impossible for our universe to be eternal.
Box if you want to read about one of them. As for the multiverse, I'm not sold on it yet. I think it's an interesting hypothesis, but it's certainly not a fact or even an accepted theory at this point.
Question 5. Where did life come from and how? How do you explain the fine-tuning of the universe? That means that there are hundreds of thousands of conditions that needed to be met so that the universe could come into existence or even support life.
You called this video 8 questions atheists can never answer, but you seem to enjoy sticking 2 questions under the heading of 1.
Come on, godless cranium, does that really bother you, or does it bother you that you can't answer the questions?
Again, even if we don't know exactly how life began, that doesn't mean you get to stick your supernatural deity into the gap of knowledge. That's not how it works. However, scientists do have a number of ideas about how life arose on planet Earth. For example, the first living things on Earth, single-celled microorganisms or microbes lacking a cell nucleus or cell membrane known as prokaryotes, seem to have first appeared on Earth almost 4 billion years ago, just a few.
That doesn't explain how life came into existence. It just acknowledges that prokaryotes had existed sometime in the past. And excuse me if I question the dating methods used by scientists. From what I understand, they base their methods on the assumption that the decay rates occurs consistently despite the few years we've had to observe the decay rates of certain organisms and rocks. Furthermore, it doesn't prove evolution true. There is no evidence or chronological fossil record that shows that these organisms gradually evolved to become what we are today. There may be animals that look alike, but that could also be true if God exists. Well, you may say that we share DNA. Well, I for one believe that God made all living beings out of the same material, and that is out of the dust of the earth.
100 million years after the formation of the Earth itself. By far the longest portion of the history of life on Earth, therefore, has involved the biochemical evolution of these single-celled microorganisms, bacteria and archaea, whatever. We can find individual fossilized microbes in rocks 3.4 billion years old, yet we can only conclusively...
This is what we're fed, and no one questions it. Very few people question the dating methods used by scientists. And, I mean, if you want to put your faith there, then go ahead. But from what I've studied, there are several questions to be had. And furthermore, several Christians have no problem with the world being 4 billion years old and whatnot.
Find multi-celled fossils in rocks younger than 1 billion years. Of course, there are still a lot...
Everyone else is like anybody else. You do not know for a fact whether these so-called facts are true
surrounding how life first started on Earth, but there's absolutely no reason to stick a supernatural being into that knowledge gap. It means we have to keep asking questions and continue to gather evidence. As for the fine-tuning argument, if the conditions were different, we might find different forms of life. You might not find human life, but that doesn't mean life wouldn't exist in one form or another. Even now, we find life in what we'd consider extremely inhospitable parts of the Earth. We find life in volcanoes and in the crushing depths of the ocean. In space, you'd die within minutes, you have to tardigrade or...
If that were true, then we would find more life in the planets and in all the galaxies that are out there. You would expect to see more life out there. And I'm going to post a video on here to explain it further. But let's get to your next point.
Water bear can survive the vacuum of space.
Well, these organisms had to first come into existence to be able to survive the vacuum of space. And you don't mention this, but water bears actually die in space after a few days. However, according to your logic, water bears are in some way related to us. So they had to first come into existence and then evolve into some kind of environment similar to that of the vacuum of space before they could actually survive in it. And so let's let PragerU explain the rest.
In 1966, Time magazine ran a cover story asking, "Is God dead?" The cover reflected the fact that many people had accepted the cultural narrative that God is obsolete, that as science progresses, there's less need for a God to explain the universe. It turns out, though, that the rumors of God's death were premature. In fact, perhaps the best arguments for his existence come from, of all places, science itself. Here's the story. The same year Time featured its now famous headline, the astronomer Carl Sagan announced that there were two necessary criteria for a planet to support life: the right kind of star and a planet the right distance from that star. Given the roughly octillion planets in the universe, that's one followed by 24 zeros, there should have been about septillion planets, that's one followed by 21 zeros, capable of supporting life. With such spectacular odds, scientists were optimistic that the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, known by its initials SETI, an ambitious project launched in the 1960s, was sure to turn up something soon. With a vast radio telescopic network, scientists listened for signals that resembled coded intelligence. But as the years passed, the silence from the universe was deafening. As of 2014, researchers have discovered precisely bupkis, nada, zilch, which is to say zero followed by an infinite number of zeros. What happened? As our knowledge of the universe increased, it became clear that there were, in fact, far more factors necessary for life, let alone intelligent life, than Sagan supposed. His two parameters grew to 10, then 20, and then 50, which meant that the number of potentially life-supporting planets decreased accordingly. The number dropped to a few thousand planets and kept on plummeting. Even SETI proponents acknowledged the problem. Peter Schenkel wrote in a 2006 piece for Skeptical Inquirer, a magazine that strongly affirms atheism, "In light of new findings and insights, we should quietly admit that the early estimates may no longer be tenable." Today, there are more than 200 known parameters necessary for a planet to support life, every single one of which must be perfectly met or the whole thing falls apart. For example, without a massive gravity-rich planet like Jupiter nearby to draw away asteroids, Earth would be more like an interstellar dartboard than the verdant orb that it is. Simply put, the odds against life in the universe are astonishing. perfectly met by accident? At what point is it fair to admit that it is science itself that suggests that we cannot be the result of random forces? Doesn't assuming that an intelligence created these perfect conditions in fact require far less faith than believing that a life-sustaining Earth just happened to beat the inconceivable odds? But wait, there's more. The fine-tuning necessary for life to exist on a planet is nothing compared with the fine-tuning required for the universe to exist at all. For example, astrophysicists now know that the values of the four fundamental forces, gravity, the electromagnetic force, and the strong and weak nuclear forces, were determined less than 1/1,000,000th of a second after the Big Bang. Alter any one of these four values ever so slightly, and the universe as we know it could not exist. For instance, if the ratio between the strong nuclear force and the electromagnetic force had been off by the tiniest fraction of the tiniest inconceivable fraction, then no stars could have formed at all. Multiply that single parameter by all the other necessary conditions, and the odds against the universe existing are so heart-stoppingly astronomical that the notion that it all just happened defies common sense. It would be like tossing a coin and having it come up heads 10 quintillion times in a row. I don't think so.
Thank you, PragerU. Give it one more second.
Boyle, the astronomer who coined the term Big Bang, said that his atheism was greatly shaken by these developments. One of the world's most renowned theoretical physicists, Paul Davies, has said that the appearance of design is overwhelming. Even the late Christopher Hitchens, one of atheism's most aggressive proponents, conceded that without question the fine-tuning argument was the most powerful argument of the other side. Oxford University professor of mathematics, Dr. John Lennox, has said, the more we get to know about our universe, the more the hypothesis that there is a creator gains in credibility as the best explanation of why we are here.
Okay, so as you can see, your ideas concerning the fine-tuning argument can be problematic. Given the facts, even Christopher Hitchens admits that the fine-tuning argument has credibility. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and y'all have a blessed day.